There we go. We're going live now. Bring the noise. Bring the noise. Yeah, baby. It's Friday night. Everything is all right. Welcome to Music Lovers LTD. Good evening to you, each and every one of you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Friday Night Live podcast of Music Lovers LTD. Yours truly, the king of oldies behind the mic. Also, we have the group here. They will introduce themselves a little as we get forth into the show. But let me tell you right now, I am happy as a lark, as they used to say in Willow Grove Park. A lot of people don't know where that is. The press ain't heard that in years. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I am happy because finally, and I say finally because we made a couple of attempts and we almost didn't make it tonight because where Candi Staton is, it's storming in Cano, but we're going to press on anyway and hope that God will let us get this through. Good evening, Miss Candi Staton. How are you, my love?
I'm wonderful. How is everyone?
It's great to have you here. It is great to have you here. A lot of people call you by your stage name, Candi Staton, but your first name is Candi. How did you get that name? Where did that come from?
My grandfather named me. And I'm glad he did because my other sisters were named Lilybell and Maggiella. And he come home and he was working for an Italian family, a Mexican family, or somebody on the mountain. By the name of Panzetto. He came home.
Oh my goodness!
Name her Panzetto. I would keep her clothes for the rest of her life. I don't think my grandfather bought me one outfit. Thank God he named me Panzetto.
Oh my goodness! Well, it certainly is a interesting.
No telling what she'd name me.
It certainly is an interesting and a different name, that's for sure. Yeah, and I've been wondering about it ever since I first saw it. Again, welcome to our show, and we're certainly glad to have you here. You and I have been talking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to save my big question, and I'm going to let the group get started. But let's talk about your music. Let's talk about the longevity of your music and how it stands today.
Well, I'm so excited that I'm still here, first of all, to do
That's
the
a blessing.
music. And God has been good to me. He has blessed me. I've been through a lot. But I started singing in the church when I was about 5 or 6 years old at a Baptist church in a little bitty town called Colony, Alabama. It's incorporated now, and we've got a real city. It's a little city where I was born.
Okay.
My Reverend King was our pastor at the time. And we started singing. And a good friend of my mother, we were living in the country where you had dirt roads.
Okay.
And, when cars pass, you could forget it. I mean, it's just everywhere. We were coughing and sneezing and running. But anyway, she was coming up the hill, and I was out there making mud pies because I wasn't in school at the time. And she heard me sing. And she went in the house and she told my mother that I could sing. Now, Mama had heard me sing all along. She told me that I couldn't. And she told me to shut up and just go on and do your homework. She didn't have any faith in me at all. Miss Evil came up the steps and she said, up the road, and she said, Rosie, your little girl can sing. I stood down there and she didn't know I was listening, and she can sing. Mama said, oh, that gal can't sing. So anyway, she went and told Reverend King. Reverend King called me on the stage. Me and my sister and I, Maggie, we used to harmonize all the time together.
Okay.
He called us up on the stage and we sung, and we tore the place up.
Okay.
He believed it then.
Okay.
Started throwing pocketbooks and handkerchiefs. You know how they do in Baptist church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Believed it then, and I got scared because I was dodging pocketbooks, and I ran back to mom, and I'm like, what just happened? And because it was just nothing, it's a God gift.
Okay.
I didn't pay it much attention either. You know what? I know I could make those runs because we listened to the gospel stations in Birmingham, coming from
Okay.
Birmingham. My daddy bought us an old radio, a big battery radio, about big as a car radio. And it was so staticky, you couldn't even hear the song, but we had our ear to the floor trying
Okay.
to BB King.
Okay.
Oh, and all of the other Clara Ward and the Davis sisters and Mahalia Jackson, and, caravans, everybody was singing, and we were kind of like getting the gist of it from
Okay.
a child, because we didn't have TV, we didn't have nothing. We were so
Right.
poor. And that was our joy, just singing. We go to bed singing. Mama come in with the switch and tell us to shut up, and everybody could sleep. And so we just, and he started taking us around with him to different churches, as my mother could, we go to with him to churches, and
Okay.
yeah, and he started drawing crowds. So later on, we two other little girls at school joined us, and we called ourselves the Four Golden Echoes, and we were going around all Alabama. I was about 8, my sister was 10, and the other little girls were like 9 or 10, and we were singing at churches and stuff, and we we were so country. And and then my mother and my father uh, separated, and my brother had gone to Cleveland. He was 19, and he told my mother, my father was an alcoholic and a gambler,
Okay.
and we never had anything. I mean, he was a great worker. He was a good worker. I mean, daddy was a hard worker, but he just wouldn't bring any money home. And
Okay.
my mother she was strong. And I think I took my strength after her, watching her, how she handled everything. She had to handle everything. And I saw her so many times. Daddy would come in, and he worked in the coal mine in the wintertime, and my mother would walk to the coal mine on Friday morning and got his money.
Okay.
And I knew the fight was on that night. So we took our hammers and our nails, our knives, our holes, anything that would cut or hurt, we hit them in the barn because
Okay.
they were going to fight. And daddy come in, and he was like, "Where's my money? Where's my money?" He'd be cussing and going on, and mama she wouldn't say nothing. She was quiet. And he would lunge at her, and I remember one time she threw him over the hedge bushes. That was it. Picked him up, the little dude, and she threw him over the hedge bushes. And I'm like, oh, we felt so sorry for daddy, but that was kind of like my life when I was there.
Okay.
I was in Alabama. But when we got to Cleveland, my brother was in Cleveland. He sent for us, and we slipped away and went to Cleveland. And that's how I got with the Jewel Trio.
Okay.
Jewel had a big church on Kinsman Avenue, and they had a band, big band, and we were just like, I thought we had died and gone to heaven, all that good music they had. And they had gospel disco before disco even had a name. Them folks would be playing, it was a guitar, bass guitar, rhythm guitar, keyboard player, a gospel steel, and drums. And them people in the church would be dancing in the middle of the floor, and they would be dancing. And we went, and my sister-in-law, that was her church. So she took us to church and told Bishop Jewel that we could sing. She had a school in Nashville, parochial school, a Jewel Academy and Seminary. And
Okay.
she took us to Nashville. Asked mother, could we go? And my mother said, no, she's too young. They're too young. These kids can't leave home like this. No. And we had left daddy in Alabama, and we begged and we pleaded. We begged and pleaded, Mama, please let us go. She was saying, no, you're not going. You're too young. So
Wow.
daddy happened to find his way to Cleveland. And then she came in crying one night. She said, you know what? I'm going to let you go with that lady because she can do more for y'all than I can.
Okay.
And because she had gotten on welfare and all of that, and so she took us to Nashville, and we started the school there. We started singing in the chapel. Then Bishop Jewel took us on the road with her. She had 30 churches. She was a very rich Black woman.
Oh, wow.
30 churches. She had Madam Cook, Madam Bethune,
Okay.
best friends. I've sat on Madam Bethune's porch and sung to her when I was a little girl.
Okay.
Yeah, sure
That's
did.
history. That's great
Yeah,
history.
yeah, we did. And my God. But she would fix us bologna sandwiches, and we would sit on her porch, and Bishop Jewel and she would be like, talking about their schools. And that's how I started with the Jewels. And then that's how I met Sam Cooke. He was with the Soul Stirrers. We
Okay.
started getting shows with all these the people that
Yeah.
I listened to on the floor with that old raggedy radio. Now I'm on stage with them.
Isn't that something?
Isn't God good?
God is good all the time. I'm telling you. Yes, he
Now
is.
I'm with Mahalia Jackson, and I'm with Lou Rawls in the Soul Stirrers. I'm with the
Okay.
Blind Boys, Blind Boys. We on the stage singing with all of them, Staple Singers, you name them, Aretha Franklin. That's how I got to know all these people. They were like family to me, So this is how it all started, and that ain't the rest is history, because the history hadn't started with the other side yet.
Right. Well,
Started.
I'm glad that little bit that you just shared with us. You went from being a young child to being on the stages. That's just tremendous. I understand. Excuse me. I understand how it feels to be on stage with your idols. Let's put it that way. I
Yeah.
understand that. I understand, and it's such a wonderful, wonderful feeling, especially when they're nice. When
Yeah.
they're nice, especially when they're nice. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for getting us started here. I'm going to step back and we're going to move around the room here. We got two ladies and one guy. And since he's dressed for the occasion, we're going to start with him. Come on in, Drew.
Thank you so much for joining us, Miss Candi Staton. I'm Andrew. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Great meeting you.
One of my questions was going to be about your the Jewel Gospel Trio, but you explained that thoroughly. Moving along in your career, when you started going into the secular music scene, one of your first hit records, I believe, was a cover of Tammy Wynette's "Stand By Your Man." How did she receive? Was she approved? Did she approve of you covering her song?
Well, when you put a song out in the music industry, anybody can cover it. You just got to get permission from them and the record company and all that. You have to go through that paperwork. So you can cover their songs. But that was not my first song. My first record. That's the first record that was nominated for a Grammy, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But my first record was called "I'd Rather Be an Old Man's Sweetheart Than to Be a Young Man's Fool."
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Y'all remember that?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I like the title.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think a lot of people liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was written for Aretha and Clarence Carter. Once I divorced my first husband, my father of my 4 children, I had to get away from him. He was so abusive, and I didn't want my boys to grow up and abuse women like he was abusing me. So I did it for a reason. And I couldn't live with him anyway. He was extremely jealous. And so he beat me to a pulp before I left. I left him, and my mother and my stepfather came and picked me up. Got divorced from him, and I didn't know how in the world I was going to take care of them 4 children. There I am, 21, 22 years old, 4 children. They all little stair steps. And I'm praying to God, Lord, what am I going to do? He was supposed to pay child support, but he didn't do it. He didn't pay me not one dime. I raised them 4 children. I had to get a job. I worked at the senior citizens home. I sung on weekends. I was making $90 a week. And I had to get my own apartment in Cleveland, Ohio, right off of White, it was on White Avenue. God, it was in one of the worst ghettos that you could ever live in.
Wow.
I was praying every day that my little boys would survive that ghetto. And my sister and my brother-in-law, who had been out of the country when I moved to Cleveland, and they were looking for me, and he was in Spain. My brother-in-law was taking foreign languages to teach. He was a principal, and my sister is a school teacher, and they were looking for me. So what we did, we put all the children in different homes. That's what they suggested we do that, and try to get me in Vanderbilt. So I wanted to be a nurse. And I saw a placard. I had opened, let me back up a second. I was singing at a nightclub called 2728 Club in Birmingham, hold 150 people. And my brother took me there, and he dared my ex-husband to stop him. He was a police officer. And Clarence Carter was coming up that weekend, one of the weekends. And OJ, who was the club owner, he said, I got a girl here that you need to see. She need to open for you. And he said, I don't know her. Can she sing? My brother said, man, I wouldn't be telling you to bring her on the stage if she couldn't sing. And so he said, Sam, we friends, but man, that's your sister. And I know you'll say anything to get her on the stage, but I have never heard her sing. Sam said, trust me. And he did. And I sung that song that night in that nightclub. And he hired me. And I was one of his regular girls from Friday, Saturday, and I do Sunday nights. And then I didn't know how I was going to get out of that bad marriage. I did not know how, because he threatened to kill me. He threatened to, oh God, I won't even go into that.
Wow.
I wish I had a movie, but it's too much to talk about on your podcast.
I got you.
So we went to, I got it. Well, Clarence heard me. He said, Clarence, I got a girl that I need you to listen to. Clarence says, I already have my review. He said, you got to hear this girl. And so she said, okay, well, tell her to come to practice, come to go sound check on Thursday. We open on Friday.
Right.
I came there, and it was real funny. I only knew 2 songs, Do Right Woman and Tell Mama. I learned those over the weekend just to satisfy my brother, so he stopped bugging me. And I got up there and sung the song. I got such a standing ovation that they hired me. And then Clarence came, and I started. I only knew 2 songs, so Clarence Carter came about a couple of weeks later, and I got into rehearsal with him, and he had that Slip Away. It was a big record.
Okay.
And I got up and I asked him, I said, do you know Do Right Woman? He said, yeah, we think we can manage that. So I sung my 2 favorite songs, and I asked him, I said, do you know Tell Mama? He said, yeah, I think we can manage that one too. And they started laughing with that famous laugh he had,
Yeah.
He was singing, and the band just fell out laughing, because what I didn't know, he wrote it.
Okay.
He wrote it, and Etta James made it a hit.
Okay.
And I think we can manage that. And when he started playing it, I'm like, he playing it just like, I'm thinking, he playing it just like the record. And then he told me after I finished the song, he said, I wrote that song.
Okay. Okay.
I wrote the song.
Okay.
And he told me, he said, if you ever get rid of that fool, you got a job.
Wow.
Oh, I got a way out. Thank you, Jesus. So we went, my sister, I went to Nashville. After I divorced him, make a long story short, went to Nashville, and I saw this big placard with Clarence Carter was coming. He was with Benny, B.B. King, and all these folks was on the show, the Shy Lights, and all these people. And I tried to get backstage. They wouldn't let me. And finally got backstage, and he told me, are you ready to travel? Did you get rid of that fool? I said, oh, he's gone. He said, well, can you meet me in Macon next week? I said, yeah. And I met him, in Macon, and we started. Well, he introduced me. First of all, he introduced me to Rick Hall. It's the first thing he did because Etta James had just left. And then he hired me after we did 3 songs that night after I met Rick. I'd Rather Be an Old Man, Sweetheart, and 2 other songs. And I signed a contract with
That's
Rick.
all right. That's all
Thank
right.
you.
Congratulations. All right. All
Then,
right.
then
I'm going to say something that I know you have echoed many times, and we're going to move over to the professor. I'm so glad you got rid of that fool. Come on in, Professor.
Good evening. My name is Sharon, but they call me Professor. I'm so glad that you are here.
And it's good to be here. It really is.
And as I told you, you are undeniably one of my mother's favorites.
Well, I wish she was here.
I do, but I believe she sees this.
She does. She does. She's over us.
But she just loved music as well. But Lord have mercy, young hearts run free. Did something for her for sure.
Well, the song talks about, it's really my story. Nobody knows that. It's really my story in 3 minutes.
Okay.
Everything in that song was written by David Crawford after we were having lunch together every day, and I was trying to get rid of somebody else, and I ain't going into that one yet. But I was trying to get rid of somebody else, and he was abusive too. I'm like, do I have a sign on my back so you can mistreat me? No, I must, because I don't attract nobody but these type crazy people. So anyway, I was trying to get rid of him, and I was talking to David about it and asking him what could I do. And I noticed he was writing. Every time we talked, he would be writing. And then Warner Brothers had hired him to produce me. I got with Warner Brothers, and they hired me to produce me and hired him to produce me. I've been knowing David for years because he played for the Caravans.
Okay.
And so we had been trying to get in the studio together. And so I had put down like 5 or 6 songs, and I flew in, and I walked in the studio, and David was playing that song. It was just a track.
Okay.
I thought it was the most beautiful track I'd ever heard. I said, what in the world is that? He said, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. And guess what, Ollie? That man had fasted 40 days for that song.
Okay.
Wow.
He was skinny as a rail. He would turn sideways. His lips were white. I said, David, what's happening? He said, I wrote you a song that's going to last forever.
Wow.
I said,
he ain't never lied.
Well, he ain't lied about that.
He did not lie.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What, you wrote me a song gonna last forever? He said, yeah, it's gonna last forever. God told me it would last forever because it's a message to the young people. Don't get in the kind of mess you got into.
That's awesome.
And every generation is gonna pick up on it. And I do it on Instagram, and one girl, she's 40 years old now. And she made a comment. She said, I used to hear my mother in the kitchen before I went to school when I was about 6 or 7. And she would be playing that song, and she would be dancing, fixing eggs and stuff for us. And I heard the music. I just danced to the music. She said, because it was so nice.
Okay.
Be dancing. She'd turn me and twirl me around and stuff. She said, now that I'm 40, I listen to the lyrics.
Yes.
Okay.
I listen to the lyrics. You'll get the babies, but you won't have your man.
Yeah. Yeah.
He loves every woman that he can.
Yeah.
There you go. Leave 100 times a day, but it's easier said than done when you just can't break away. So young hearts, run free.
Yeah.
Don't get hung up like my man and me.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. Yes, sirree. All right. We're gonna pass the plate right about now. And then
throw my hat.
Come on there, Di. Come on there, Diane.
Good evening, Miss Staton. It's a pleasure to have you here tonight with us. Now, you started out in gospel. Was it hard to go from gospel to the secular music?
Not if you get kicked out the church.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, when they kick you out the church, what you gonna do? Oh my God. Yep. Yeah, I was different. And so they didn't understand me. I wasn't traditional enough for them. So you know, God always have a different call. You know, we judge so quickly. Yeah. We don't know what God has on us to be.
Yes.
We're different for a reason.
Right.
He sent me in the club to get people saved.
Yeah.
Nobody else can do that.
Okay.
TD Jakes can't go in no club and get nobody saved.
Okay.
Nobody. But
Good point. Good point.
I can walk right in there, sing all their favorite songs, do Young Hearts Run Free, You Got the Love, and Hallelujah anyway. And those last two songs are gospel songs.
Okay.
And the anointing falls when I start those two songs and people start crying. And some of the deep people come up to me after the services, I call it services, after the show is over and say, I don't know what got a hold of me. My leg got to shaking and I couldn't stop.
Okay.
And he would be crying. He said,
right.
I'll go to church tomorrow.
All right. All right.
So I'm doing a work that a different type of work, an evangelical work in the nightclubs. But I'm retired now. I mean, all that's over. So, but they still do my songs in Europe. It's been so wonderful being in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've learned that. Good question, Don. We've learned that through all of the artists that we've had the pleasure of talking to. You're always treated better and known better in Europe than you are here, always. And I take it you're the same way, because when we talked before, just before you were to come on the last time, you were headed to Europe to receive some type of award. Tell us about that, if you would.
It was the AMA, American Music Awards, Americana Music Awards. It's Americana music is a combination of R&B, gospel, and country.
Okay.
And so there's a genre of that type of music, and it's very large. And it's basically a lot of white people. It's not a lot of black people that get into that. Ray Charles would open for him and at the Aladdin.
Okay.
Open for Ray. And I used to go down in his dressing room an hour before we sung that night at the Aladdin. And we just sat there and I was drinking then. I was drinking alcohol then. I don't drink no more. I've been sober for 50 years.
Okay.
But anyway, I was pretty, I was pretty bad off at one time. I couldn't take the fact that my kids were home with strangers, and to forget all of the stuff that I was out there trying to make a living and keep their roof over their heads, send them to school and all that. I had to do it, but I hated to leave home. But anyway, what was I talking about? I went on a rabbit trail.
The award.
Ray Charles, and I sat there. I knew the story of his. He sat there and told me his whole life story before it became a movie.
Okay.
We had a lot of time together. We had a lot of good times together down there in his dressing room. We just talked. He would order amaretto and coffee, and that's what I look forward to when I went to his dressing room.
Okay.
See you tomorrow night? I said, yes, same time. I said, yeah, same time. And one night he said this to me. He said, you know what? I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone. I said, what? He said, you are a female Ray Charles.
Ooh. Wow.
I said, what?
What a compliment.
Yes. Yeah. I wish I had a, like we have now.
Yeah.
I had a phone.
Yeah.
I made him repeat it.
Yeah.
And I would record it, but we didn't have that type of technology at the time. But he told me that, and I said, Ray, he said, yeah. He said, you're a little bit of gospel, you're a little bit of country, and you're a little bit of R&B.
Okay.
And put all that together, and that's what they call Americana music now.
Wow, what a heck of a compliment.
Nice.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That's a heck of a compliment.
Yes,
We need to give you a round of applause for that. That's a heck of a
I
compliment.
give myself one.
Yeah, man, that
Yes,
is awesome.
goodness. I was so stunned when he said it because, I hadn't thought of it, but that I knew I loved his music. I had every
Right.
record he's ever had. I'd put the little cassette in
Right.
in my car and listen to him. And he was just so, oh my goodness, he was so good. And I said, boy, I love that type of music. I didn't even put myself there.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? You're right. I do. That is what I do.
That's a heck of a compliment.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah,
It really is.
that's why I couldn't draw all those people, 85,000 people to my stages over there in Europe,
Okay.
because that's what they love. They
Okay.
love kind of music.
The word to, in my opinion, and also the opinion of my music lovers here, they sort of agree with me. The word legend is just tossed around now to me like water. But
Yeah.
I say to you, and I've said this to you when we do one-on-one on the phone, and I said to you now that we're on this podcast, you are truly a legend. And what Ray Charles said, now that I'm thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it makes it. Plus the fact that you're a Black female, and there's not too many Black females that have ascertained the heights that you have through the stuff that you went through to get there. That's the thing that's important.
Man, I tell you, I went through it. It wasn't easy.
Before I get to my my big question, I'm going to put on something that I want you to listen to, just a little bit of it, and music lovers will listen to as well. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yes, you did. When nobody else would, I know you did. And you did things for me, my baby, that nobody else could. I know you did. You gave me your heart, but I couldn't be true. But I still got that same sweet feeling for you, sweet baby.
Come on in here.
We had a love, oh yes we did, beyond compare, I know we did. And when I needed you, oh Lordy, you were always there, I know you were. I had my chance, but I couldn't come through. Now I still got that same sweet feeling for you, sweet baby.
Now, Candi, you rocking back and forth like you want to sing. If you want to sing, go ahead, girl. Go ahead, let it out here.
That old lonesome feeling keep coming back again. I get that feeling and I cry out in the night. I need you, baby, oh darling, to say everything's alright. Come back, baby. Oh, yeah. Where you belong.
All right, I just wanted you to get a little taste of that. Now, in all my musical career, following this music, loving this music, studying this music, and what have you, I'm going to make a statement. There is somebody, I would put you in this category with this other young lady, and it's a young lady. And I'm only talking about from the voice aspect and from the feeling aspect when you sing and when she sings. The young lady's name is Mavis Staples.
Oh, okay.
That's where that you guys sort of sound similar, but you reach a little. To me, you reach just a little bit deeper, if you will. Talking about the stuff that Ray Charles talks about. You know what I mean? Where you come from, where you live at, what brought you here. If you would expand on that a little bit, and then I'm following up with the question before we go around the room again. Tell us a story about you marrying a blind man.
And you want me to do it now?
Yes, please.
Well, Clarence, after my first husband was so mean, I never felt, any love for him. Really, I got pregnant by him when I was 18 years old because I left Jewel Academy and I had been all around the country, and I was bored to tears. And he was flashy and all talking loud and stuff, and had a car. And so I jumped in the car, and before you know it, he's taking me to all these places, and we getting everything. He's buying me all this stuff, and I messed around and got pregnant. And my mother, actually, it was a shotgun wedding. She made me marry him.
Okay.
I didn't love him. I didn't know, and I think he knew it. But he beat me up so bad, and he would do me so wrong. And after I got rid of him, Clarence was just the opposite. Clarence was the nicest person I have ever met.
Okay.
He started to buying me things. He started to showing me how to do shows. I was as green as grass. I didn't know how to do nothing but gospel.
Okay.
And he would tell me, when I first started singing, I would I used to do in church when you did this, and you would look up.
Yeah.
I went in clubs doing that, and they booed me off stages and everything. So it was crazy. So he stopped and he taught me. I watched him how he could take an audience and keep them in the palm of his hand for an hour.
Okay.
And I watched him, and he was so good to me. He bought me, when I was trying to get all my children back, he brought me a house trailer, sit it beside my mother, so she could take care of all my children, and I'd go on the road. And then we got pregnant with Junior, his little boy.
Okay.
His son, Clarence Carter Jr. We got us Clarence Carter Jr.
Okay.
And he's in Texas now, and he's a truck driver. He got a fleet of trucks.
Okay.
He loves those big trucks, he used to call them when he was a kid.
Okay.
So he finally got him some big trucks. And so he was just a wonderful person. He introduced me to Rick Hall. He just was there for me.
Okay.
He couldn't see me, but he was so nice and wonderful to me. And we had the greatest conversations. We would talk for hours. We would be riding in the limousine, and we would be talking for hours, going to the next show.
Okay.
And I'd go to sleep in his lap, in my head in his lap, and he would rub my head, and he would tell me how much he cared about me. I mean, I wasn't used to that.
Okay.
I wasn't used to that. So,
well, the story is, and the reason why I'd asked you that, because it was said that I think it was the first husband who said to you that he accused you of this, that, and the other, and the story was that if you would marry a blind man, that way nobody could accuse you of this, that, or the other, because they couldn't see you.
One reason, yeah, because with the other dude, I couldn't look at nobody. I couldn't. He's blind, like he can't see them anyway. I could look at who I wanted to look at.
Okay,
so that's another reason I was freed from. I couldn't even look at a man. Would just compliment me or wink at me. I took the brunt of that when I got it.
Right. Okay. Come on in, DD.
Now, Miss Staton. Excuse me. Now it says that your Young Hearts Run Free was #1 in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like most of your stuff was #1 in the UK.
Yeah, right.
Than here, and it seems like most R&B singers, artists, they did better over in the UK than they did here.
They do, because they love our music, and a lot of them learn how to sing because of us. Yeah. And I noticed at my concerts, they would be 9 years old to 90.
Wow.
And I would ask some of the promoters, I said, why are the babies, why they bring their children? She said, they're teaching them how to sing like you.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good point, D. Come on in, Drew.
Yes. Also, Ms. Staton, your music is popular in the gay community.
Oh, Lord.
And they really took a liking to you. So I was wondering, even though you're a religious lady, did you accept them as they accepted you?
Oh, yeah. They're people. They're humans. That's a choice, It's a choice. It's a sin. I mean, if you just want to talk about sin, that's all the Christians talk about is that's a sin and they're going to hell. Well, if you commit adultery, you're going to hell too.
Exactly.
So it's a sin. I mean, that's their choice. God gave us a will. We all have a will and a choice to make choices. And if that's what they want to do, who am I to judge them?
Okay.
I was told to love everybody the way they are. Let God do the judging. He said, I'll take care.
Okay.
And so I just accept them and I love them. I mean, I love all gay people because if my records have gone gold because of the gay people, especially young heart victim.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good question, Drew. Good question. Go ahead, Professor.
Well, I definitely agree there because that's the other record my mother loved, Victim. It was like something would come over her. That was, oh my goodness.
Mhm.
But how was it? What was it like to have two of your children join you on the His Hands album in 2006?
It was wonderful. My son Marcel plays bass, and Marcus is a drummer. He's one of the greatest drummers. If you watch us on if you watch my Instagram page, you will see my son Marcus. We do it together.
Okay.
And we just did live yesterday. And he's the greatest drummer. He played with Isaac Hayes. He's played with Temptations. He's played with the Atlanta Orchestra.
Okay.
He's played with everybody. He's played with this. He traveled with the SOS band. He was with Tyler Perry for 10 years with his band when he had money out there. And so he's in 2 or 3 of Tyler's movies. The Family That Prays, and there's one of the other ones he did with Tyler. But he's just out there. He's a great drummer. Now he's a producer. He's a producer and he does everything. He does it all. He's done my last 13 records.
Okay.
Wow.
Great.
Fantastic.
Hello?
Fantastic.
And he plays the drums.
Go ahead. We had a little feedback there. I don't know where that was coming from. Good question there, Professor. Drew, you got something else?
Yes, sir. Ms. Staton, also, when you was in gospel, I've learned that you was also affiliated with Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, as well as having your own gospel show, New Directions, I believe it is. How was it working with them?
I loved it. I really did. I was burned out after being out there in the second world and all the competition and driving DJs to play my record and having to take things that I want to do in order for them to play the record. And the competition, it was vicious. And then I was in the chitlin circuit as well. I was doing those old clubs, and people are not, they are not nice. If you can't sing, beer bottles can be thrown at you and my, guitar players and everybody else. If you didn't sing after they got drunk, it would BYOB, bring your own bottle. They could drink it. So, and I loved it in there because they were so funny, and they would be, heckling and going on, and I'd heckle back.
Okay.
So it was bad. I've been through it all. I called the Chitlin Circuit the College of Soul.
Okay.
I went to college in the.
Okay. That's a very nice way of putting it. Very nice way of putting it.
That's where you got your soul music.
Yeah. Come on in, Diane. You got something else, babe?
Oh, now I've read that you have 12 gospel albums.
13.
13. Oh, it said 12, 13. And you received like Grammy nominations for your gospel album.
2 of them. Yeah, 2 of them. Sing a Song, I think and Love Lifted Me. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
That's awesome. That is really awesome. Good
yeah.
point, Di. What you got, Professor?
What would you say is the one thing that every artist should never forget?
Where they came from.
Ooh, good question, great answer. Good question, great answer. Great answer. But and you know what? And so many of them have, and so many of them do. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, I know them. They do. They call them one-hit wonders.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah,
one-hit wonders. They get one record and it goes big, and then maybe they go gold, and they think they've achieved everything, hadn't gone through nothing.
right,
Nothing.
right,
And then they ignore you, and you sitting up there, you going through the holy hell. If you forgive me for saying that,
Mhm.
to try to get where you going, and you went through it, and you paved the way for them.
right,
They're
right.
standing on your shoulders, and they don't even know it.
Wow.
So you went through the
Mhm.
bad times, and you didn't give up. Because had
Right,
you given up, they probably wouldn't have a one-hit
That's right.
wonder today.
right,
know.
right,
You went
right,
through it in order, you paved your way through that mountain so the rest of them could follow you and have something.
Mhm.
You mentor them,
right,
but they would
right,
never tell you.
right,
Yeah,
right. It's a
like
shame.
it's like oh, I can do it now, so you don't matter.
Right,
Type of thing. Oh,
right,
fine with me.
right. It's sad. It's
Yeah.
truly, truly sad.
It really is sad.
Yeah.
And I
Come
can
on in, Drew. What you got, bro? I know you got something.
You mentioned all your trials and tribulations, but it also came to my attention that you are a cancer survivor.
yes.
And what is your status there? I understand you're cancer free now. Is that true?
Yeah. The last one I had, I was cancer free. Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. I went through 10 rounds of chemo and 30 rounds of radiation.
Hmm.
Mm.
And I'm
Congratulations.
standing.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And I took the COVID shot, all that bad stuff, and, and and God just keeps me. That's why I love him so much. He's my best friend.
I got you.
And he just protects me.
Yes.
Regardless of what I go through, he said, I'm always with you. I'll never leave you. I'll
Okay.
never forsake you. As long as you call on me and make me number one in your life, I got you, girl.
All right. All right. Well,
Regardless.
you're a living testimony and a living point for that. You're a living testimony for that.
Mhm.
Living. Professor, what you got, babe?
How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
I guess
Good
I would
question.
say I am a survivor.
Okay.
All right. Diane?
Miss Stanton, you have a church, don't you? You have a church in Atlanta?
No, we had a church with my ex-husband. He was a little, well, I won't call him a little bootleg. I don't know what he was, a little preacher. we had a church. We had a real, we had a church for 6 years at one time when I had Say Yes on TBN,
Mm-hmm.
and I had 20 something years with TBN. I had 2 shows that lasted 12 years apiece.
Okay.
And I loved it. I didn't have to worry about the smoke, and I didn't have to worry. They just embraced me and loved on me and stuff. And when God told me, I have sheep that are not in this fold and I'm sending you back, I was kicking and screaming.
Wow.
Mhm.
No, you didn't say that. That was the devil. He says, he didn't say nothing else. And before you know it, he closed every gospel door I had in America.
Okay.
No choice but to go out. And had a house note, had and all that stuff was coming due, car notes and bills, and people were canceling me. Like, I had just gotten divorced from my ex-husband John, and he was they told me, he didn't work. I did all the work. He took all the money.
Mm.
And
Wow.
I know I could never retire with him. And my
Wow.
daughter, who is sitting right now in one of her rooms, She was the bookkeeper. She said, Mama, I'm quitting. She said, because if you stay with John and he's taking all the money, you will be on that stage till you're 90 with nothing. And she said,
Wow.
I can watch this happen to you. So
Wow.
you got to make up your mind what you want to do.
Okay.
So I had to leave him. I left him and divorced him, and God began to bless me abundantly. Doors began to open in Europe.
Okay.
Got the Love came out, and I didn't even know it was out. They tried to slip it on me. They slipped it over there, and it was number 3 on the charts. And people, musicians, and I was still with TBN, musicians coming back from Europe asking me, you got a hit record over in London. I said, what hit record? I sing gospel. There ain't no hit record over there. I had forgotten I made that record. I made it 10 years before.
Wow.
In Chicago for Dick Gregory.
Okay.
And he was trying to get his product, the Bahamian diet thing.
Yeah.
For him. And he had this guy that was 1,000 pounds, and he was trying to lose weight. And it was the weights lift. I sung that song for a video for him, for this guy to lose weight. He's lost about 800 pounds. I think he's about 800, almost 700 pounds.
Wow.
Because he was 1,000 pounds. Trust me.
Wow.
They had to get a forklift to get him out of the room. They had to tear the door down.
Wow.
To get him out of the room and take him to Nassau. And so he asked me, would I sing this song for the video? And I said, yes. And they tried to get it played in America. It wouldn't go. And so I forgot I even made that song.
Okay.
I remember they had remixed it and done all this stuff to it. And it was a #1 record in Europe.
Isn't that something?
And it's
Wow.
a record.
Isn't that something? That's awesome. That is
Doors
awesome.
began to pop open. I mean, it was like I was making so much money. I said, Lord, what are you doing? My God, I'm glad I'm out of them folks' way. Because
That's awesome.
There's love off, and there ain't no love in it. I'm telling you now, there ain't no love in that offering.
I'm gonna borrow one of the professor's questions, and I hope you don't have this on your list, Professor. What advice would you give a young person if you could talk to them? Because you can't talk to half of them now anyway. But if you could talk to them and they listen and they're trying to get in this business or go forth in this business, what advice would you give them?
Well, I tell you, like I told a lot of people right now, it's on Instagram. Don't be so anxious to sign a contract before you get somebody like an attorney, a music attorney, or somebody to go in with you to read it. You get so excited because you've been trying all this time. Finally, somebody think that you can make it. They offer you a contract. They build you up, thinking you are the greatest. You can do all this, and the contract is standard, but there's no such thing as a standard contract in the music business.
Gotcha.
You got to negotiate a contract.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
I didn't know that, Ollie.
Okay.
I did not know that. And I signed the first thing they laid in front of me. I didn't even read it. But basically, when I got with Warner Brothers and other record company, United Artists and all those people, they give you everything you asked for on the first 3 pages.
Mm-hmm.
They take it back on the next 3.
Ooh.
So you don't get that 3. You don't hardly look at the other 3 because you think that's it. And it's just preliminaries because it's a standard contract. And they sit there and they tell you all the things they're going to do for you. We're going to put you on night, good, Letterman show. We're going to do this for you. We're going to do all these. We're going to put you on all these shows. We're going to send you on tour, and we're going to all that stuff. And what you don't know, what the young people don't know, you paying for that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that.
Okay.
They taking that out of your royalties.
Okay.
And don't sign a contract without reading all the pages.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Well, listen, Miss Staton, Candi, I appreciate you finally us getting together and being on the show. I appreciate that, man. And your words for this past hour or so have been very, very influential, I'm sure, with us, and I'm so sure with everybody else. So we're going to start our goodbyes, and I'm going to start with Diane.
Miss Stanley, it was indeed a pleasure talking to you. Oh my God, my eye. Talking to you tonight. I've learned a lot, and bless you.
God bless you as well.
Thank you.
I hope I was a help. I hope I said something to change somebody's life.
I'm so sure that you did. I'm so sure. Drew, come on in, Drew.
Ms. Candi, thank you so very much for sharing your story, especially with regards to the recording contracts. It's very, very enlightening. We thank you so much and hope to have you back with us soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Come on in, Professor.
Thank you for giving me one of the best memories that I will never forget with my mother. Your music did it. I mean, I can see her like it was yesterday. You know, she really loved you, and she could, I think if she could, a couple weeks ago, if we would have had the show, she would have got up out of the bed and started shaking around us or asking for some of that naughty head that she used to drink, knowing she can't drink it no more.
Yeah.
But yes, indeed. And thank you for all the things that you went through. I saw your story on something in May because I was, beginning to do some research, and a lot of what you said here today, it was paralleling, thank you for being able to go through that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would not have been able to.
No, I know. Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to be strong. And I
Yeah,
think I got it
takes
from
a lot of strength.
Watch for being strong. And I think that's where I got my strength from. And God, number one, He's one that gave me strength. But I had a mentor in my mother. She didn't take no mess. And I think that's where I got my fight from, was mom.
Yeah.
Well, we are so glad, and I am so glad that mom set the barrier. I mean, set the bar for you to go forward. I know that I feel blessed to be able to call you a friend, because I can pick up the phone and call you at any time. And I mean, even when we're just chatting, and we've got some new stuff to talk about when I read what is that I'm supposed to read? Judges and Gideon. Yeah, we got some new stuff to talk about now. We got some new stuff. But your life, the little bit of time that we've been investigating and talking about it now, has been amazing. So to go into the other parts of it, the different marriages and the breakups and makeups and the musical part about it would probably be even more fantastic, and I'm so sure that it is. But I thank God for you, and I thank God for allowing me to call you a friend. I really do. It means a lot.
Likewise.
Means a lot. So blessings to you always, and continued success. And I know that we'll be talking soon. I know that. But I want to thank you again for coming on tonight. It's been long awaited. I'm a happy man now. And I'm glad that you're here. So we thank you. We thank you. Next week is the 4th of July weekend. Have a great 4th of July weekend. And we'll be talking soon.
Okay. All right. Well, it was great tonight. Thank you.
All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary, and I don't use that word lightly, the legendary Miss Candi Staton has joined us tonight. We're going to certainly be talking to her in the future. But keep in mind, if you would, Friday nights, this is where it's at. We bring the legends on and we talk to them about their career, their life, and their times. And this is where you're going to learn the stuff that's not on the back of an album. That's not on the insert of a CD. Unless the person tells you that, you're not going to know the difference. But so we try to bring it to you live here. We won't be here next week. Next week will be the July the 4th weekend. I'm giving everybody off so they can eat plenty of barbecue. But the next weekend that we come back, this is our schedule for July. July 11th, we have Mr. G.C. Cameron coming back. He's coming back because he is very incensed about the stories that surround Smokey Robinson right now. And he wants to talk about that. So he called me, asked me, Ali, can I come out? I told him, yes, you can. So GC Cameron will be our guest on the 11th. On the 18th, are you ready for this, baby? Are you ready for this? Mr. Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. He was Mr. Jackson and the Jacksons. He was in a movie. He was in a play here called Jason's Lyrics. He was also Freddie Boom Boom Washington on Welcome Back, Kotter. And he was Cheese in the movie called help me out. What
Coolie
High. Yeah, he's going to be our guest on the 18th, and on the 25th, the legendary Sammy Strain. Sammy Strain sang with Little Anthony and the Imperials, did a long stint with the OJs, then went back to Little Anthony and the Imperials, and then retired. So that's our guest lineup for the month of July.
My son plays for Little Anthony right now.
Does he really?
Yeah, he goes on the road with Little Anthony.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're trying to get him back on too. We're trying to get Little Anthony back on too. Yeah. So that's our lineup for July. Wait till August, my birthday month. We're going to have some more great people coming into us. But listen, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Candi Staton, I love you dearly, and we'll always do. Take care of yourselves. Everybody have a great weekend. God bless. And we are out of here in a few minutes as I put on my music. We're out. There we go. Everybody take care. Good night, y'all. Love you, Candi. Love you.